Today's episode is brought to you by the Twisted Fork. Eat, drink, and enjoy. Mike Imbasciani.
Hello, sir.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I think I've approached you a few months ago, and I know you're a very busy guy. You were just traveling. Where were you?
Yeah, well, I've been playing all over, just in this Southwest Florida area, occasionally going over to the East Coast to like Boca Raton, but I've been spending a little time out in Texas going on Dave Landau's TV show Normal World on Blaze TV, kind of more of a talk show and playing a little bit of music, but it's kind of a fun little avenue that I like to have.
So tell us about your bands that you're currently in now.
Yes, so I have my main band, which is Mike Imbasciani and his Blues Rockers, which is, 3-piece, sometimes 4-piece, variety, blues, classic rock, throwing some rockabilly, throwing some folk music, all depending on the audience. That's the main bread and butter band that I've been playing since I formed it when I was 14. I'm 28 now. And then a few years ago, I started my Eric Clapton tribute show, Simply Clapton, which I was coming off of the pandemic, coming off of Hurricane Ian, when a lot of local venues that were staples just got destroyed. So I was trying to figure out something that I could not only elevate my band, Mike Imbasciani's Blues Rockers, but dive into the tribute band area, because has been growing in popularity for the last couple of years.
Especially down here.
Right. So I love Eric Clapton, as I know you do. And when I realized I already played a bunch of Clapton songs and I didn't need to add that many more for a tribute show, it just seemed like a perfect fit. And
how many pieces in that band? Like how many musicians are in the tribute?
It's the same thing, 3 to 4 piece.
Okay.
So it's still that power chord trio, and I have a piano player when I can, and which elevates it as well. Of course, you do Layla and all of that, which everybody's like, oh, you're actually playing the full part. Or I love playing the live version of Tulsa Time from the Just One Night album, which is how I it's hard to, you see the tribute shows where they dress like the Beatles, or they dress like Mick Jagger or Rod Stewart or whatever. It's hard to dress like Eric Clapton, because every decade or every 5 years he has looked different since he started in the 60s. So I went with the full denim of the Just One Night album, and for my logo we recreated that album, and that's what I dress on.
Do you remember the 24 Nights was a double live CD?
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Excellent.
I love that one a lot.
Yeah.
So what about folk? Are you doing any folk music?
I am. So that is what I started with, really. I'm a big Bob Dylan fan. And throughout the Blues Rockers shows, I always threw in, and I still do, I still throw in a bunch of Dylan stuff occasionally. Bob Dylan, or Arlo Guthrie, I'm a big fan of. So when the success of the Clapton show has been working out so well, I have always thought about it, but now that, again, the tribute show stuff is extremely popular and it's still growing, I figured why not do a folk one? So I have a folk legend show, which is Bob Dylan, James Taylor, Arlo Guthrie, Cat Stevens, Donovan, and John Denver. And just going through all of that music and telling all of those stories. And then I also have just a strictly Bob Dylan tribute show called Simply Dylan. And the way I do it differently is same thing with the Clapton show. I tell the stories of the music, because everybody knows these songs. Everybody knows Sunshine of Your Love. Everybody knows Layla. Everybody knows even some of the beat cuts, or the deeper cuts of this music. But nobody, or not as many people, might know the story behind the song. So I don't pretend to be Eric Clapton. I know I'm not Eric Clapton. Eric Clapton's still touring. I'm going to see him in a few weeks in Nashville. But so I'm not pretending to be anybody. I'm Mike Imbasciani performing Simply Clapton. That's why I call it that, because it is simply Clapton's music and how great it is, and telling the stories behind those songs. And that's what I hear. And plus, my band is fantastic. So we have, we back it up with the music.
Tell our listeners who your bandmates are.
Right now, I have David Stevens on drums. He's from the Illinois, St. Louis area, Missouri there. And he's played in an Elvis tribute band. He's played in bigger rock bands in that area and moved down here a couple of years ago. He's been fantastic. Right now, I have a couple different bass players, but Jimmy C. out of Orlando has been playing a lot with me, as well as Mark Appleby from Cape Coral on bass, both tremendous bass players and have a fantastic history with music. And when I can get him, I have Michael Baer on piano, who, I mean, he's from Michigan originally and just one of the best piano players you'll ever see. And I love sharing the stage with these guys because I'm playing, I'm having a good time. But when I see, you know, if I give the bass player a solo or I give the piano player a solo, I'm looking at them enjoy it. And I become an audience member for whatever, you know, moment they're doing their solos. And I get to soak that in too, which is a lot of fun.
So with all these projects, how can our listeners find out when you're playing? What are your social sites for these projects?
So my website has all of the schedule info. So I put the venues websites, I put the venues phone numbers, and I put the, you know, when and where we're playing all the time. I update that all the time.
And what is that website?
That's MikeImbasciani.com.
Okay.
Which there aren't too many Imbasciani, so you Google me and it'll come up. Instagram is the other big thing. That's where I post the most, whether it's the reels, the guitar solo reels that have been doing well, or I'll post my schedule for that week or the day of the gig with my ads, and then they'll go automatically to Facebook. And then Instagram is at Mike Imbasciani, the number 1, and on Facebook it's just Mike Imbasciani.
Do you use Go Tonight or Reverb Nation also?
A long time ago, I used Reverb Nation. I haven't used them in a while, but I know my stuff goes on the Go Tonight as well.
Yeah, I use Go Tonight, and then my web guy has it set up so whatever I input into Go Tonight, it automatically populates on the website.
Yeah, and that's the hardest thing. I mean, and even some venues don't do very well of keeping up the social media. Whether they have a website or they just have a Facebook page, is, you know, advertising for the band or advertising that they're bands is one of the most important things, because if people don't know, they're not going to show up.
It's a 50-50 thing. I mean, look,
we have to do our part. Yeah.
Yes, every musician, every band has to do their part. And,
yeah.
And you do have a following, and you have people that really love to come see you. Plus, you have a lot of, and you know, the thing about this market is that we all have fans who don't live here right now.
Right.
They only come down in the winter. So,
but there are plenty of people who live here in Florida year round now too.
Correct.
Especially since COVID.
So you have a lot of fans coming from different perspectives, but nonetheless, the restaurants and the bars, they need to advertise as well, because people do go on those sites to see.
Right.
Like Twisted Fork, you know, it's they're very good about promoting bands.
Yes, definitely.
You know,
they're constantly post the full schedule of who's playing. Either they usually do it in like half-month segments, I notice. But I'll, you know, in my case on Instagram and Facebook, on my website, I'll have 2 months go out, you know. So right now, as we're taping this, August and September are up there soon. I'll put October up since we're almost into September. So I'm always kind of 2 months ahead. And then every, you know, either just before the first of the month, I'll post my full month calendar. And every week I'm posting, you know, I have 4 gigs this week. I have 5 gigs this week, 3 this week. And then you just have to mess with the algorithm so that people will see your stuff. I mean, I just recently hit 10,200 followers on Instagram, and I think I have 7,000 or 8,000 on Facebook right now. Yeah.
You play a lot of venues too. I mean, you're playing Cape Coral, you're Fort Myers. I've seen you all over the Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah, so I'm based in Port Charlotte, which makes it very nice because you get there's the group of musicians that are predominantly in Sarasota. There's the group of musicians that are predominantly in Fort Myers, and here I am in Port Charlotte, and then I can go where I need to go, and I'm like right in the middle, which has been great.
That's the same with us in Sarasota.
Yeah,
we can play Ellington, we can play Bradenton, even sometimes we'll get to St. Pete.
Yeah,
but then we could also rock it down to Charlotte. We've gone as far as Naples. Now we've done the Paragon Seafood Festivals.
Okay,
have you done any of those?
Not yet. It's funny. I'm working on that.
It's a lot of fun, because they're pretty good crowds, and people that go to these festivals, they really look forward to the music,
right?
And you'll have an attentive audience that really like they're listening, you know.
Yeah, I've played many festivals. Just recently, last year, or it was this year, March, I opened again for Rick Braun, jazz trumpet player, for down in Cape Coral. They did the Sounds of Jazz and Blues Festival. I've done that festival a few years. I've opened, for Spyro Gyra, Boney James, and Rick Braun before back in
lots
2017.
of great blues players around there. Sean Chambers comes to mind.
Yeah, I've met him a long time ago.
He's a good guy. I'm trying to get him on the show. Damon Fowler.
Oh, I know Damon. Damon's fantastic.
And then there's Champ Jackson, you know, who was on the show with his dad.
Yeah.
He's going places.
Definitely.
Now, I haven't had Trey on the show yet, but I want to get Trey. But I'm happy that you're here.
Yeah.
For 28 years old, man, you're a hell of a guitar player.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I know that, you know, you play the blues, right? Which is something that you're bringing the blues to the forefront, and you're like entertaining people with blues.
Yeah. Right.
Which is, you know, fantastic that you're taking that mantle and you're running with it.
I appreciate it.
Because I grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s listening to blues, right?
Yeah.
And I grew up listening to Cream and Clapton. You know?
Love it.
And all that early Stone stuff and that early Zeppelin stuff, right? That's all blues.
That's the thing. They were all pulling all these, you know, classic rock and then later the hard rock musicians. They were all pulling from that blues music. And if you look at where folk music was with the Bob Dylan stuff, and then you had Donovan. Donovan took the folk music and made it the psychedelic folk music that turned it back into that pop rock stuff. And then what happened? You had Stephen Stills and Mike Bloomfield do Super Sessions, and you had Season of the Witch, which is a folk Donovan song on a blues record. So everything kind of goes back to that original country and blues music and folk music that then just inspired everybody.
Sure.
So
what would you say your top 5, if you could make a top 5 blues guitarists, alive or dead?
Blues guitarists is tough. There are a lot. Clapton is definitely in my top. You have to go, because it's all different styles as well. So, you know, if you say Clapton for his particular style, you have B.B. King for that more traditional blues style. I really like the Rory Gallagher stuff, which was more headed towards the blues rock vibe, which is what I try to do more of as well, which leads into the Kenny Wayne Shepherd stuff, which he got started at 16, and he was doing Blue on Black and Deja Voodoo and all that. And I saw him. It was funny. And just to show you how some people are, me and my buddy were in Clearwater, and we had realized the Clearwater Blues Festival was happening, and Kenny Wayne Shepherd was the headliner for that night we were there. So we're like, well, let's just go. Let's hang out. We got into the gate right as Kenny Wayne Shepherd was starting, and there were 2 guys in front of us, and Kenny's just ripping, and you can hear it all the way from the front gate. And these 2 guys standing there going, this isn't blues. Why is this guy headlining a blues festival? It's like, because it's all different. It's still blues music. You know, you listen to country music, classic country, that still has blues aspects to it. So
those guys were morons, basically.
Right. But it's out there, and because you have these blues purists that say it has to be this style of blues.
Well, like, you know, well, look, there's folk festivals, there's blue festivals.
Right.
Stevie Ray Vaughan one time went to
and Stevie, obviously.
He went to was at a festival out in Sweden, and he was electric, and people freaked out, and they all got up and walked out. But then the second year he came back, they gave him a standing ovation.
And it's Bob Dylan in 1965 going electric at the Norfolk
So you
Folk
can't
Festival.
please everybody, man.
No, you can't.
I'm going to throw some names out at you now. Tell me what you think. Joe Bonamassa.
Oh, yeah, classic. Love it. And I love him, too, for what he's doing with the gear. Again, you have the keyboard warriors out there saying, why is he hoarding all these priceless instruments? I'm glad he's a guitar nerd. I'm glad he has Nerdville, that he's preserving these instruments, and he uses them. He sees them as tools because that's what they are. You play bass, I play guitar. It's a tool. And the fact that he is preserving these things, he has the love for the history of the instrument, of the music, and he shows that. And I love the video when he played with Clapton at Royal Albert Hall. It's fantastic. And you can really see how much he loves to dive into the history of all of it.
I see him whenever he comes to town. I see Joe. I love him.
I've never seen him live, but.
What about Stevie Ray Vaughan? What are your thoughts on that?
Again, what I like about Stevie is he took the insanity that was Jimi Hendrix and the more straight up blues of like the Albert Collins and meshed them together the way I think Jimmy could have done, more so if he wasn't high all the time. You know what I mean? And drop your comment down below of what you think about that statement. But so I see Stevie as controlled chaos because he has that right hand that just is perfect. You hear every note perfectly clear. He's fast, he's smooth, and he can slow down and play songs like Lenny and just bring a tear to your eye. And what Clapton has said, once Stevie got clean, God knows what could have happened if he didn't die in the helicopter accident. And that's true.
John Mayer.
John Mayer. I respect John Mayer a lot. his songwriting is a songwriting. You know, people will say what they want to say about his, you know, all the ex-girlfriend talk, sort of like Taylor Swift writing songs about her ex-boyfriends.
He had a lot of beautiful, famous ex-girlfriends.
Yes, he did.
Like over a dozen.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, that's music, right? You put it out in the music.
He is a rock star.
He is a rock star. I like what he's doing with Dead & Company because I think that's bringing him back to the music stuff too, which you hear in his early records, and then you hear where he went pop for a while, and then you hear, because that's what sold. That's what made him his millions of dollars. Fine, good, man, make the money.
Yeah,
but you can still hear the blues influence in his music.
Definitely. So, you know, the Crossroad things that Clapton did?
Yeah.
The big one was Chicago.
Right.
I think Bill Murray was the host.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I saw one that was in New York many years later. And I think
was it 2013?
John did Queen of California live.
Yes, with acoustic.
Which was fantastic.
Love that version, yeah.
And then the Almonds jammed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about Southern rock. So what do you think of like those guys like the Rawson and Collins and the Dickie Betts, those Southern guys? What do you think of their playing?
I like that, and I think that's what you've seen the resurgence in real country music now. Because when you see the Chris Stapleton or the Billy Strings bringing bluegrass mainstream again, you're seeing these guys and these heavy guitars soloing and doing those things. It's saying, look at this music and see how popular it can be again. Because I said years and years ago, when you started seeing pop songs replace the guitar solo with the rap break, that killed so much guitar music. And that became the mainstream.
So is it safe to say guitar's making a comeback?
It is. I think it's tremendously making a comeback.
Now, also, not just from sounds, but are more kids playing now and more kids buying guitars? Because Guitar Hero was a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because when Guitar Hero came out, there was a whole generation that said, instead of me getting a real guitar,
I can play the video game.
I'm going to play this and then still impress my girlfriend.
Right. I think Fender, the CEO of Fender, came out after COVID and they said, we put more guitars in hands of people now than before, because people were at home. They didn't have anything to do. I might as well take up a hobby.
You can get a fake Fender Strat, like what do they call it? What's their small model? Like the Bullets and those like Stingray.
Squire, yeah.
Squires.
That was my first guitar.
Yeah, man, like $99. You know, you get it for your kid. Yeah. Kid can learn how to play, right?
I started playing when I was 5 on a Fender Stratocaster Squire Bullet. Go. I still have it. I love it. And even my number one guitar that I play, my Silver Sparkle guitar, you'll see in pictures and stuff, that's my number one. That was a $150 Fender Squire. So
let's talk about your gear on stage.
Yeah.
What do you have on stage?
So I break my back every weekend, as everybody reminds me all the time, that I'm playing through a Fender Twin Reverb that was originally, it's a 1969 Twin Reverb rewired by a guy named Mike Skaggs out of the Nashville area. The number 2 P Amps is his company. Rebuilds amps all the time. He's one of the best amp builders and guys I've ever met. Fantastic guitar player as well. And he rebuilt that amp as a 1964 schematic and put it in a head unit for me. So I play the twin head through a 212 cabinet. It's got Eminence CV75 speakers in it. You know, you get people out there that go, oh, I'm not going to talk about my rig because that's my sound. I don't care. It's about sharing what you're doing and how you're doing it. I think it's fun. That's the fun nerding out part. Ever since my videos on Instagram have been taken off with the guitar solos that I do, I get more requests of people actually wondering what I'm playing through. So I'm always happy to talk about it.
And people like tone.
Tone. And one of the highest compliments I've gotten from people is they love my tone. And to me, that is the best compliment I can receive.
I agree.
Because as a guitar player, that's your sound. So that's my sound of who I am and what I like to sound like coming from my amp. And people say they like that, then that's the highest compliment I can get.
You're a Fender Strat guy.
Fender Strat guy. I have like 12 Stratocasters.
And do you play anything else live?
Yeah, typically if I'm playing a Strat, I bring my Gibson 335 as well, because that's the nice balance. I can achieve, if I'm playing a folk song at my regular Blues Rockers gig, I can pull out the 335 and play my folk music on it. It'll get clean enough. I can also do, heavy Gary Clark Jr. blues on it. So it's extremely versatile, same as a Strat.
What strings do you like?
For the longest time, I used Elixir Nano Web 10 through 46, which is kind of standard. It's got the nano coating on it because I'm lazy with changing strings. But with as much as I play, I can get about a month and a half out of a pack of strings, and then one will break, and then I'll change all of them. But recently, I've really enjoyed String Joy. They're out of Nashville, and I jacked it up, no pun intended, to 11 through 50. So my bottom E string is a 50, and I really like, because I pluck sometimes with my thumb, so I really like that extra weight on it. And it was a little bit of a learning curve of bending the higher 11s, but I play in standard tuning. I'm not dropping down or anything. Like, you hear the stories of, well, Stevie used 12s or 13s tuned down half a step. I never messed with any of that. I keep it simple. A Stratocaster is a simple guitar. Strings, simple. And so the String Joy ones, they're the orbiters, so they still have that coating like the Elixirs do that I like. So they last. I mean, I'm playing all the time. It's hot, so the salt, will kill these strings. So I like having the coating on them. They last a little bit longer.
Max Shoe ad, opening scene, take 99.
At Max Shoe Productions, we don't just create videos. We tell stories that connect, inspire, and captivate your viewer. We are a full-service production company dedicated to bringing your vision to life while having some fun.
Editing is where the magic happens. It's not just about cutting footage, it's about shaping a story. The pacing, the rhythm, those little details that make your audience feel every moment. Whether it's a commercial, a short film, or an online series, we create content that keeps your audience engaged from start to finish.
Podcasting is all about an experience. You need a clear voice, a compelling topic, and the right vibes. Good audio quality is a must, but a great story, now that's what keeps listeners coming back.
Our team isn't just a group of creators. We are your partner in creating something unforgettable. Whatever the project, we're here to make it shine. Together, let's make your vision a reality.
That's a wrap, guys.
On the bass, I went from Elixir to Blue Magic.
Okay.
And then Larry switched over to Blue Magic on the 6 string. So
yeah.
We like those strings.
I'm not familiar with
Robert
them.
Butterworth is a local Florida guy. That's his company.
Cool.
And I have to turn you. I'll get you a free pack so you can try them out.
Yeah, man.
But they're good strings, and everybody that plays them loves them. They swear by them.
Yeah, and I've been with the folk stuff. I've been playing a lot more acoustic lately. So I'm using the String Joy Foxwoods on that, which again 11 through 52, I think maybe. But
so you sing as well.
I do. Yeah.
So how would you describe your voice if you had to? Someone said, "Hey, man, what do you sound like when you sing?"
I don't know. I
mean, when you do a Clapton cover, do you try your best to try to imitate Eric's voice?
A little bit. I think he has, him when he's singing, but it's nothing that is, he's not. He's not
more
Mick
British.
Jagger.
Right. So a lot of the British guys can sound English, but sometimes you'll hear a little bit of his British accent.
Right. I mean, when I started, I was singing Bob Dylan and some Beatles stuff. So the Beatles stuff was harder because obviously more voices and they all have the higher registers. One of the biggest things I invested in when I was younger was vocal lessons. That's when I needed it. So I took vocal lessons from when I was like 15 to 18, 19, and that was a tremendous help,
It's also easier when you have an instrument in front of you because you're playing a D chord and then you can sing in a D,
Right. And that was always kind of the thing is you get some people that they're singers who play guitar. I'm a guitar player that sings. You know what I mean?
Would you say that you have perfect pitch?
No. I'm a visual guy, so if I'm learning something, it helps to see it, I hear it, I see it, I hear it, and then it makes sense.
Did you learn reading, or did you just learn?
I did when I was very young. When I was 5, you start with that. I still have it somewhere. Hal Leonard, book number 1. Mary Had a Little Lamb and Old MacDonald Had a Farm. And you learn all the notes where, if you stick a piece of music in front of me, I can get through it in about an hour. But
I had a guy on the show recently who said that he self-taught, learned everything, and then many years later he went back and that's the scale I'm playing.
Right. Yeah. It's like, okay, so
I'm already doing it.
Right. So I did the theory thing in the beginning, but then when it shifted over from the theory to learning songs, I was like, okay, well, I can read chord charts with words. That's how I learn most stuff. Or again, I see it. I see somebody doing it. You slow it down a little bit. You figure it out. And I've never been one, even with the tribute shows. I'm not playing it note for note. If you want to hear note for note, put the record in the CD player. Because you go to a live show again. You're not seeing. You want to go see Eric Clapton? Those tickets are a lot more expensive. I'm giving a show that is the Eric Clapton music. You will hear those signature licks that are the most important, and then you're going to hear my flavor added.
Well, you know what? I think the evolution of a musician and the maturity, I think, as well, is when you develop your own sound.
Yeah.
So now Mike has his own sound.
Right.
So then I can hear it and say, oh, that's Mike. As a, like Joe Bonamassa to me is somebody that I can always set it's Joe.
He's playing through a Gibson Les Paul, through a Dumble amp, 12 of
them. Speaking of that, my favorite sound is that Kinks have a live record where they're playing out of a Marshall stack, Gibson Les Paul. It's like Kinks Live from the Road, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And if you want a definition of what a great Gibson out of a live stack, what it sounds like, put on that record, man, or that CD, because it's just classic.
Well, and that's the thing with my rig. Again, like I said, people were making fun of me about why you lugging around a twin reverb.
Well, I'm assuming you got wheels and you can roll it.
Oh yeah, but still, you're still lifting it down.
I know that amp.
Right, and so it's like, because digital, I haven't found it yet. Because this is my sound, and we can talk about my pedal board too if you want, but this amp is my sound, where a deluxe reverb isn't going to handle it for me. I need those 85 watts of clean power that I can control.
Sure.
Because what even other blues players, what they might do, they use a lower wattage amp and they drive the amp. And we're going to get real technical for a second, but they drive the amp. But then you're not controlling it, because you have to dime out the amp, or you're putting it on 7, putting it on 10, and A, it's loud, and B, you can't make it clean if you really want to, and the notes start to blur.
So here's my question.
Yeah.
A guy like you that understands sound, and you like it the way you like it, you're on stage. Now, so you're controlling your sound on stage, but now the front of the house, they're putting out there, and you can't hear it. You don't know what's going on out there. You have to almost trust them.
Yeah, which, the Twisted Fork, those Nate and everybody who runs sound there, they're fantastic. I love it. And I don't like hearing guitar through my monitor, so I'll just have my guitar amp behind me. And so, but my twin, again, because it's so clean, I run that amp on 4 most of the time. I'm on 4, and I'm running 4 stages of overdrive.
So if you're on 4 and the amp is behind you, I'm assuming it's about 10 feet behind you at the fork?
Maybe. Yeah.
And you're not and it's not coming through your monitor. Is that loud enough for you to hear it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because if you took off my always on full tone OCD overdrive, that's my rhythm sound, it would be too clean. Because it's twin reverb, 85 watts at on 4, it's not breaking up. The amp isn't breaking up by itself. So it's plenty loud. If I need to, maybe it'll go to 5, but then I start losing a little bit of control because it'll break up slightly too soon for me. So that's why I have 4 stages of gain. So my full tone OCD overdrive pedal stays on all the time. That's my rhythm sound. So it's not just pure guitar through amp, clean. And then I have Walrus Audio. They're out of Oklahoma. Fantastic USA made stuff. Warhorn overdrive. That's my main solo sound. And then it's sometimes, you play in a band, sometimes it's just not enough. You need a little more, right? For certain songs, a Jimi Hendrix solo is going to be up, higher than an Eric Clapton solo, depending on the song. So I have 2 to 3 other gain levels that I just stack on top of each other.
See, the wild card in all this is the venue location and the size of the room.
Oh, right. And so,
because the Twisted Fork is wonderful, and like those Paragon Seafood Festivals is wonderful.
You can push sound.
But when now the challenge comes in when you have to go indoors, man.
Right.
Like the Gator Club's a great example. You know what we do, man? We take all the amps off the stage.
Do you?
We go into the board, and we all wear the inner ears.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on inner ears?
I used them for a while. I have very nice in ears. Made from a guy, Dream Ears up in St. Pete.
Yeah, that's the guy in the Geek movie. The
Spasmatics.
Spasmatics.
Yeah, great. Mitch. Yeah, I love Mitch. Great guy. So I have good in-ears. I just don't use them. I like hearing my amp.
A lot of guitar players say the exact same thing.
I like
The
hearing
only
my
time
amp.
that'll change is if you're playing out in Vegas or you're doing something like Broadway,
Yeah.
where like you have to wear them because you have no choice.
Well, it makes me laugh. Like some of these bigger stages or indoor areas, they tell you got to turn the amp down or you got to turn it around or
we all got that.
I have a
You know why,
plexiglass
dude?
shield that helps.
There's a lot of old people in this market, and I hate when they sit them in front of the. I tell the hostess, why are you putting all the old people in front of the damn speaker? You know they're going to complain.
Yeah, right. But, that's why even with the amp that I'm playing, the plexiglass shield helps when needed. But I'm still running it on 4, maybe 3.5 if I need to. 3.5 to 4. That's my sweet spot on the amp. And you don't go crazy with the solo. So again, I have that control with those different overdrives that it doesn't have to get to that insane level that it'll go to at Twisted Fork because you have all the open space. I'll play in a smaller club like Leroy's or Ortesia and Punta Gorda. They're great clubs, great people. They're all digging the music. It doesn't have to get as intense with the sound coming out of it, but the amp stays the same.
Let's talk about your set lists.
Yeah.
Now, are you very strict and stay on your set list, or do you deviate?
I don't even write a set list. It's all up here.
Okay.
And so
what about your drummer and your bass player? Do you just shout them out, or you just start playing?
I shout them out. I start something, they'll know it.
Okay.
And I have anchors. I have anchor songs. Like I'll typically always start a set, depending on the night, with like Up on Cripple Creek by the band, or a cool song called Creature of Habit. That if you looked it up, it is a cover. It was by a band called the Psychodots. You listen to the song, it's nothing special. It's cool, but the lyrics are cool. And so I made it, a friend of mine actually played it that way, and I made it that way in my band, is just a blues shuffle. Works great. And it's a nice, easy way to get into a show. And then you go from there. And I have staple songs. Like I'll typically end a first set with something like, if the crowd's really digging, I'll do like Cat Scratch Fever from Ted Nugent. Or I'll end the first set with like Black Magic Woman, Santana. Second set, I typically always start with The Weight by the band. I'm a big fan of the band. I love The Last Waltz and stuff like that. Robbie Robertson, fantastic guitar player, arranger, writer. Levon, come on, great drummer. Singer, singing all that stuff and playing drums at the same time. And I'll end the second set with something like King Bee, Kenny Wayne Shepherd's version of King Bee, which again is that blues rock. And that's kind of the vibe that I'm pushing with all of my shows. It's classic meets modern.
Well, the blues rock is part of your name. I mean,
Right.
It's pretty clear what you're doing.
Right.
Do you take requests?
Sometimes if we know them. I was surprised I didn't get more Ozzy Osbourne requests after the news of his passing, but I don't play any Ozzy. I don't play any Zeppelin, because you gotta stay in your lane a little bit. You're a band performing a show. You perform to your strengths. I don't sing like Robert Plant. I'm not gonna play any Led Zeppelin. You know what I mean? I do some Rolling Stones stuff, but I'm not going crazy with it. One thing that really sets my band apart is I'm playing songs that people know by bands they know, but I'm playing the deeper cuts. I don't play Satisfaction. We can, do we? Occasionally, if we have a really, dancing crowd, like at TJ Carney's in Venice, where there's a big dance floor and people do that. Yeah. Would I rather play Sympathy for the Devil? People still know it. People will still dance to it. And it's still a Rolling Stones song. But every band and their brother might play Satisfaction. Not every band is playing Sympathy for the Devil. Same thing, there's a great band called K out of Iceland. They found mainstream success with a more harder rock, still you could, throw it into the blues pile at a blues festival and people would love it. A song called No Good. It was used on some TV show I have never even seen, but it circulated the internet for a little while. So you see the video, you hear the song. I love Shazam on my phone. I've learned more songs from just randomly hearing something in a TV show and Shazamming it and going, that's a cool song. That's a cool band nobody's ever heard of before. Let's try that. People don't know. People know good music. If it's good music, they like it. If it doesn't work, throw it out, find something else. So Kaleo had this mainstream hit, and then you looked at the rest of their music, and they wrote a song called Broken Bones, which was here's this white guy in Iceland with a name you can't even pronounce, writing a song from the perspective of a black guy in one of the cotton fields. And this down, great, hard, like blues song. I go, I can do that. I throw in a harder guitar solo than they threw in because they wanted it on mainstream radio, you know, and it's a hit. People like it. So I like finding songs like that, more obscure, more, again, songs from bands people know. And also I play a song called Bloodhound by a band called The Donkeys. Nobody's ever heard of that before. And it's fun and it makes it different.
What about originals?
So I do have some originals. They're about 10 years old now. Originals never been my strong suit. That's something I am working on. I like arranging more. So I like taking those more obscure covers and arranging them my way. That's putting me into the songs more. I know that's the next hurdle, so to speak, is the
As
originals.
you evolve and grow as a musician,
Yeah.
put more originals out.
Yeah.
And then what else? Maybe playing bigger, better venues, trying to travel more.
Yeah.
Any plans to go on the road?
Not so much on the road to play the clubs. I'm fine with doing, driving to the East Coast, going up to Orlando or going up in between here and Tampa or whatnot to the theaters for the Clapton show. Those, I don't play the Clapton show at small venues. It's meant to be a ticketed event.
And how do you sell it? How do you promote it? Are you calling up venues and saying, "Hey, I got a Clapton show. You might want to check this out"?
A little bit.
Or people like asking you, because I know there's an agency guy that handles tributes, and I know that he tries to.
There are a few different people that I work with. In addition to myself, I mean everything else that gets booked, I'm booking. So if it's a venue that I've dealt with in the past, I might reach out and say, hey, let's try this. It can be a ticketed thing and do it that way, especially if it's more of a performance arts center, again, rather than a club. The clubs are great. They're the sustainable, thing, and that's fine, and that's always good. But that's why I'm trying to push the theaters for the special shows.
You ever
and
played
that
Troll
keeps it special.
in Venice?
I haven't yet. I know those
Yeah,
guys.
I think you'd be
They're
great
good
there.
guys. Yeah, and that's a small room too.
Yeah,
It's a
people
nice
really
room.
just really pay attention, and they're connoisseurs of good music.
Yeah, but we did the Clapton show at the Venice Theater, which the Venice Theater was under construction, so they moved it to the Venice High School, but a big auditorium, which has been nice.
So when you're not performing live, are you trying to go out and see local bands? Are you going out to see national acts? Like for an example, I just saw Metallica.
Oh, cool.
I
Yeah.
saw AC/DC.
Yeah.
I
How
just
are
recently
they?
saw Joe Perry Project. So AC/DC, I went in with low expectations.
Right.
And I was pleasantly surprised how good they were.
Cool.
I didn't know anything about the singer's voice. I heard he had hearing issues. Didn't have any of that problem. He sounded great, looked great. He was nailing it.
Cool.
And this is Tampa, so that's like their home market, right? He lives
Yeah.
around here. But then Angus, who I believe is 70, he showed no signs of
I've seen videos. He's running up and down.
He comes fully dressed, and it was a hot night, and then he slowly takes off his outfit. So now he's got no shirt on.
Yeah.
And he's covered in sweat, and he was running around. Now, he didn't do the signature one when he goes on the ground.
Right.
He didn't do that one, but he did all
Then
those
you
other
got to help him
crazy
back
moves.
up.
So anyway, I was very impressed with that. And then
Mhm.
about a month later, I went and saw Metallica. I had never seen Metallica. I don't really own Metallica albums. But after I saw them, I was so impressed. I went home that night and I downloaded a whole bunch of
Nice.
stuff.
That's cool.
They were so good live.
Yeah.
Whoever does their sound, I mean, I guess maybe technology now has gotten to a point where
True.
every seat in a stadium now is a good seat.
Where'd you see him?
It was at Raymond James, the Bucks Stadium.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So technology has got to a point now where these guys know what they're doing. And
Mhm.
whether you're in the nosebleeds or you're down in the pit, it just sounds crystal clear.
Right. Yeah. It is truly amazing now. With the line arrays are fantastic.
And I'm going to see a band that I'm sure you love. It's Tedeschi Trucks.
Oh yeah.
That Revelator album is still one of my top records, but they've come out with albums since then. But Susan Tedeschi's voice is just so cool, man.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And when Julia Brown plays with Jacked Up,
Mhm.
we do more bluesy stuff. We cover some of her stuff.
Cool.
Tedeschi.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just sounds great, man.
Definitely.
And then Trucks himself with his slide.
Check out again. This was from the 2013 Crossroads Festival. That was at Madison Square Garden, and you had Derek Trucks with
Warren Haynes there?
Sonny Landreth.
Wow, Sonny Landreth. I like
I
him.
love Sonny
He's a
Landreth.
classic
Sonny
blues guy,
Landreth to
slide
me, I love Derek Trucks. You know, I love the Allman Brothers. Anybody that you want to say is a slide player, Sonny Landreth is better.
Yeah, because maybe he's been doing it longer.
Well, even still, it's his ease of playing. And you see these two guys, they played Congo Square, which is, I love that song. And you have Sonny Landreth playing with Derek Trucks, and the two
Eric
of them
Clapton
going
loves
at
Sonny,
it.
and he always has him like
Yes.
opening act. You know, how do you think about ZZ Top? Are they blues to you?
Yeah.
Are they rock? Are they southern? Like
They're blues.
they're a blues band.
I mean,
right?
listen to him. Listen to Billy Gibbons play "Dust My Broom." You know, that's blues. As blues can get.
Didn't Jimi Hendrix one time say when he was asked?
Yeah,
Who his
Billy
favorite guitar
Gibbons was
player
his favorite. Yeah, I saw that clip. Somebody's asking Billy Gibbons about that when he was a lot younger. They were asking about that, and he said, "Yeah, that was true." So that was cool. And that's the thing. I mean, and I talk about that in the Clapton shows. Like all these guys were friends. Like all these guys were hanging out all the time.
Yeah,
and,
like Beck,
yeah,
Clapton.
well,
And like McCartney would show up and watch Jimi Hendrix play in London.
right. And it's like, man, I hate that guy. you know.
Well, so Sgt. Pepper had just come out on the radio,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess Jimi Hendrix loved it so much that he started playing it, and it's a recording of it.
Right.
It was 20 years ago today.
Right.
Sgt. Pepper taught the band.
And they don't even know the songs,
and
and they're
McCartney
just
was
doing
there
it.
watching it. How
Yeah.
cool is that?
Have you seen the Led Zeppelin documentary?
The one that just came out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it on Netflix, and I thought it was great. And you know,
It was too short, though. They should have kept going.
I
You what I'm
know.
saying?
Well, that was the thing. Did you see the Bob Dylan movie, Timothy
Not yet. I'm waiting
Chalamet?
to see that. Is it on streaming now?
I think so. Yeah, it is actually Hulu or one of those. And Timothy did a great job. He took 5 years to prepare for the role. He learned all the guitar parts. He sang all the songs.
He's a good actor, that guy.
He did a great job. Did a really
I have
great
to see
job.
that, dude.
But even that, it ends right after 65. So it's like there's so much more.
The rumor that the Springsteen movie coming out is
Yeah.
just about the Nebraska album,
Right.
which is kind of weird. Like, and that wasn't one
It's
of
like,
his
do
more
they want to
popular
make
albums.
sequel to the biopics here? I don't know what they're doing, but going back to the Led Zeppelin, it's like Jimmy Page they were all kids. Even the Beatles, 10 years, and they were all kids, and
But isn't
it
it
was over.
incredible how young they were and the music that they were doing? Like,
Mhm.
I look at Greg Allman's brother Dwayne.
Yeah.
At a very young age, he was writing some very complex music,
Yeah.
and he I don't think he ever graduated high school.
No, well,
You know,
he
he
didn't
just-
need to.
He just got it right.
Yeah.
Do you think that there are some people that their brains are just special for music, man, and they just
Yeah.
get it, like, you know?
And that's the thing with originals. That's why I don't force it. It's like I want to write some. I just heard John Mayer is doing his thing on his channel on XM or whatever, and he was talking to somebody about writing a song, and he said, there's this he's got 30 or 40 unfinished songs. And he said, he always uses these metaphors. He's like, it should be like a battery, where you're moving. When you're listening to a song, you want to listen to it from the beginning and you want to make it to the end. He said, if you're listening to a song and halfway through you look at your buddy and you go, well, what do you want for dinner? It's not a very good song. And he says he has 30 or 40 songs like that that he said die on the table.
But it's funny because Joe Walsh was talking about one of his songs, and he said he ended up putting songs that he didn't think he thought were separate. He put them together.
It's life's been good or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see
Rick
that.
Beato on YouTube, the guy's a
Mhm.
genius, and he sometimes has really cool guests on.
Oh,
He talks
yeah.
about the greatest song, the
Mhm.
greatest guitar intros of all time,
Right.
the greatest bass.
Yes.
He has
he's,
songs.
He's in my algorithm. Yeah.
Oh, he's fantastic, man.
Yeah.
I grew up listening to all that stuff: Led Zeppelin,
Uh-huh.
Aerosmith.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, God, my favorite American bands, right? I mean, the Eagles have to be there, of course, but you can't underestimate Kiss. And everybody
Yeah.
disrespects Kiss, man. I'm like, why disrespect Kiss?
Yeah. Yeah. I go on Ken Lovejoy's radio show all the time, and he played a Kiss song coming out of the bumper, going back to the show. And I was like, that was Kiss, it's true. You just don't think about it. You know, you hear the hits and that's it. In my age, growing up, you already had the greatest hits albums. So what did I listen to on my CD player in the car with my parents driving around? Bob Dylan's greatest hits, the Beatles' greatest hits. You're not listening to the B-side stuff.
Right.
It took people, it took people to willingly go and like, okay, let me listen to the whole album. Even in your generation, if you had a cassette, you couldn't skip a song unless you wanted to mess up the cassette. You had to listen
to the whole album.
You had to listen to the whole album.
Now, it just so happened that some of the albums were just fantastic, like Hotel California,
right.
Fleetwood Mac Rumors.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a little kid, like really little, man, I was listening to simple stuff like the Beach Boys,
right?
Help Me Rhonda, and Surfing USA and all that stuff.
Dissect that stuff, and it is insane.
Well, he was a genius.
Yeah. Well,
speaking of geniuses, guys with brains, right?
Right.
And they always say that Pet Sounds, which I love that album. There's a couple songs on there that I think are kind of weird, but there's a couple songs like Sloop John B.
All the harmony parts.
Which is insanity.
Mm-hmm.
But what's interesting to me was that apparently there was a rivalry going on between him and McCartney. So like Sgt. Pepper's versus Pet Sounds and stuff like that, and like they were kind of like they knew about each other. And they wasn't like a dirty or a mean or a vindictive thing, but it was more just like, all right, let's see what Brian thinks of this one.
Right. Yeah. Well, and not only, you want to talk about a perfect record, listen to Zac Brown Band's You Get What You Give.
Oh, he's great.
That whole entire album is so fantastic.
Good. So good.
And there aren't many records that I can listen to.
You know what I like about
thing.
Zac Brown, but besides his great original stuff, is he's not afraid, like Dave Grohl of Foo Fighters, to come out and play some covers that we love. Like Dave Grohl does like a medley of Queen and Van Halen and Heart, and he does it. He's not touring right now, but Zac Brown, I have a whole album of him doing just covers.
Covers, yeah. He does isn't it a Tom Petty cover? There's some big cover that he does all the time live, and he meshes his song with that song. I forget what it is, but it's very, very good.
Hey, I'm glad you brought up Tom Petty.
Yeah,
because man, that guy is just a freak. I'm still discovering his music.
Yeah,
there's still stuff in there that I'm finding out. Like, I found some obscure live tracks, Crystal River, and those when he was in the Mud Crutch project.
Yeah, or look at the Traveling Wilburys.
Yeah, there was just a story about that. George Harrison had to do some work. He owed somebody an album, so he put like he was hanging out with Jeff Lynne, and Jeff Lynne's like, I'm not doing anything. I'll come to the studio.
Right.
I got nothing better to do.
Yeah.
And Jeff Lynne just happened to be talking to your boy
Dylan. Yeah. And then Dylan had the studio.
Yeah.
And he had to go to Tom Petty's house to get his George had to go to Petty's house to get his guitar. And so Petty went to the house, went with them to Dylan's house to record. And then Roy Orbison was hanging out with one of them. And one of the other funny things that I heard about the Wilburys was they asked Jeff and they asked Dylan, they asked Roy Orbison, they asked Petty, what's the best thing about being in the band? And they all said, we've got a Beatle. And they asked George, and George said, well, we've got Roy Orbison. And it's true. You listen again, how underrated artist Roy Orbison, his voice is incredible.
I know his voice is like angelic.
And nobody thinks about it.
It's angelic.
Yeah, it's incredible. I've been listening, I've been listening to old Willie Nelson music. And just his voice back then, and that rhythm and that great music again derived that old country that was around at the old blues time.
Do you remember a guy? I don't know if you know this guy. This is a good question actually, because you may know him and you may not know him. Jeff Healey.
I have they released the Roadhouse album of all the Jeff Healey music, and so I've got that whole album on my phone.
The cat was blind.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh, insane! He
used to open up his shows with Communication Breakdown, and then he'd just go off on his crazy slide lead. But one of my favorite songs is called "Angel Eyes." It's a kind of a mellow, beautiful song.
Definitely, yeah. I've been listening to a lot of his stuff lately. But yeah, people like him or Roy, or like I mentioned him earlier, Rory Gallagher. These guys that if you're in the scene and you listen to that music, you know about it, but he's not to the level of Clapton, Hendrix, even there, not what they were anymore, which is unfortunate.
What do you think of guys like Peter Frampton and those types of guys? Like, what are your thoughts on them?
I mean, they're classic. Frampton Comes Alive
because he's a blues guy, but then he found some success on the radio. And I wouldn't say it was pop, but FM radio took off.
Yeah,
and his, that live album of his was.
And the live album, that's what you listen to, and that's why I don't really record much. Is like I'm a live band. I like the energy from the people. I play to the audience, and you can tell that in the Frampton recordings too.
So
It's
do you
like-
have one of your tributes recorded live?
Again, a lot of stuff on YouTube videos right now.
Yeah,
Not as much as
great.
recording CDs to sell or release that music digitally, but on YouTube, I have montage videos of the Clapton show, the folk show, the Dylan show, and the Blues Rocker show right now.
So what does the future hold for you, man? Because, again, you're 28, you're so accomplished, you're such a wonderful player,
Thank you.
and you got all these projects going on, man.
Mhm.
Like, you must be excited for the future. What are some of the things you're working on?
I mean, it's grinding. It's continue the grind. It's the power of the internet. I've been lucky and blessed to have the success that I've had at a young age, but it's also been the hard work. I've been playing guitar since I was 5, professionally since I was 11, so I've never stopped. And there's ups and downs. There's days you don't want to do it. There's days you can't wait to do it again. In 2 hours.
What can people that have never seen your show? What could you tell them to expect if they come to one of your shows? Your Blues Rocker shows.
Blues Rocker show, just a good time, good music from a great band. And it's that simple. People want to hear the music, they will hear the music and have a great time.
Do you set up I know you don't write a set down, but
Mhm.
are you trying to get people to boogie and to shake and to move?
A little bit. I've never been worried about that. I love the audience that will, just sit and watch, in between songs you can hear a pin drop. And like that's fun too. It's those intimate crowds like that. You play a club that they're going to dance, then you play. That's why I don't like set lists, because if you're planning out a set list, you're saying like, I'm going to play this in this order exactly, and you're going to sit there and listen to it. You know what I mean? So I don't like doing that. I like going in and saying, okay, again, I have my anchors. We're taking breaks. It's a 3-hour gig, whatnot. I move with what the crowd's digging. If they're, if it's a club where they're eating dinner a little earlier because it's an earlier gig, I'll throw in some of the folk stuff. I'll throw in some of the easier blues stuff. I won't hit them so hard, right off the bat. And then the second and third set is when, okay, now they're opening up to me. Now I can hit them with, some Gary Clark Jr., who I saw live, and he puts on a great show. I saw him, you'll appreciate this, talking about live performances. I was invited to the Gibson Custom Shop Factory in Nashville a couple of years and years ago. Where they said it's going to be the reunion of Bachman Turner Overdrive. They haven't played together in 20 years. Wow. It's like, that's cool. Let's do that. So we went to Nashville. Summer NAMM was going on at the same time. So I got to go to Summer NAMM, which was incredible. And that was a fun experience. So we get to the Gibson Custom Shop Factory, which, fun fact, back then it was right next to the Epiphone factory. So the lowest and then the highest quality. And I saw beautiful Gibson Les Paul Siberian Tiger Orange, with the lines through it, $8,000. And they go, you just want to touch it. They lead you through the factory. And Bachman Turner Overdrive is going to play. It was in the parking lot of the factory. Just a cool hangout concert.
Was it like invitation only?
Invitation only. And they had this guy who I'd never heard before, Gary Clark Jr., open for Bachman Turner Overdrive. And he was just right there. And his guitar player that he has, Native American guy, I forget his name, another fantastic guitar player. He was playing a double neck SG, like, the Jimmy Page thing. So they had a great set. They come off stage and they're just walking around because it's invitation only. There aren't that many people there. So it was just a fun thing. So that guy's walking around and I talked to him. I go, hey man, I love the, double neck SG. You don't see that very often. Why'd you pick that? And he goes, oh, they took us into a back room or they had all these guitars. They could say we could play whatever we wanted. So I picked that one. It's like, that's when you made it pretty good,
If it's a double neck, how would it be tuned? Like, I think, would one be in standard tuning and then the other one would be in all funky
I think they're
tunings?
usually both in standard tuning, because one of them, like Hotel California, one's a 12 string that you're maybe doing more of the rhythm thing on, and then you switch to the 6 string that you're doing your leads and stuff like that. That's what I've seen.
Wow, so 12 and then 6.
Right.
Interesting.
And then it has a selector switch on it that, in addition to the pickup selector switches, that you switch between the 12 string and the 6 string. It's nuts. I've never messed with one, but it looks like fun.
So Mike, in our final minutes, does anybody want to give a shout out to anyone that's helped you along your career? It could be parents, it could be teachers, it could be friends, it could be venue owners, loyal fans.
Yeah, I mean, I again talk about being blessed. I have some of the best fans and that have become personal friends. I mean, in the world, they've followed me for years. We have dinner together. We have family parties and stuff. We hang out and we have a good time, and that makes it nice at the gigs because you go, oh yeah, such and such is coming, and the friend group grows bigger, and because they are more than fans, they're coming to all these gigs. I mean, everybody knows the last few years money's tight for everybody, so if anybody's going out supporting live music, supporting the venues, it's important. It keeps us working, it keeps the venues in business, and it's these people that, whether they're retired or working very hard, that's their money that they're spending on us or on the venue. That is
so
tremendous.
my friend Sal and Denise. That
yeah,
they're
Sal.
they're the example of really good people.
Yes,
who are diehard fans of local live music, and they'll do their date, their couple's date at the venue. They'll do their parties. Like they use that venue to celebrate their life, not just going to see it. Like that they're regular customers, man, and they're just so solid.
And they're doing their part. I mean, how many times he's videoing everybody and posting it up there? Because a lot, it's expensive if you're going to do it professionally and get somebody out there, record the audio, record the video, mix it down. What are you trying to do? A CD, a video, 10 YouTube videos? You need more than just your phone. And so that gets expensive fast. So for somebody like Sal and Denise to go out there almost 2 or 3 times a week, sometimes see these bands all day, and he's recording these bands and good audio, good video.
He does a good job.
He's paying attention. He
does a good job, and you know what? They put speakers now on the stage.
Right, they got the centers,
So that helps him because if they didn't have that, it might not sound as good as it does.
But it helps the bands tremendously, and I'm very lucky. I have good friends that have helped me with that video and audio stuff. For myself, for the montage videos I mentioned, Jim Sutton's one of them, fantastic videographer. Nate at the Twisted Fork mixed the audio for me for some of the montages. And talking about support, my parents, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them, literally, in some sense.
Did your parents, because you played at a very young age, you were a little guy and you had a guitar and you were up there, you were on stage at what and playing in front of people at what age?
So started playing guitar when I was 5. I would go to the Gilchrist Park in Punta Gorda Guitar Army, which met every Thursday, sit in a circle, play acoustic guitar type of thing. That's why I was playing all the Bob Dylan music. That was starting at 7 years old, and then started playing professionally when I was 11.
So at 11 years old, you were in front of people.
Yeah.
And
getting paid.
And then did your father find you the drummer and the bass player?
So the band formed when I was 14, and are
these guys your age or are they older?
Typically they were always older. So the guys that and I've had, musicians that played in my band that have unfortunately passed away already, and because they may have been in their 60s, 70s, whatever at the time. But I cut my teeth going to blues jams. That's why I love blues music so much too, because it was something that, meaning me, you can go up there and sing the song, and you can get 2 or 3 songs, 15 minutes, whatever. But now you have to stay up there and play that guy's song,
right? And
fumble your way through it. And that helped me learn so much material. It helped me learn how to solo and improvise and bob and weave my way through these songs that I've never heard before in my life. Blues music that is now everybody knows, whether it's, Got My Mojo Working or, whatever is the standard blues jam song nowadays. And that helped me cut my teeth on that type of music. And that's where you met people. It's where I met most of the musicians that I ended up working with.
Well, I think it's safe to say that you're known as a blues guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your name is synonymous with good local Lee County, Charlotte County blues.
Right.
And you're slowly making your way up to Sarasota.
Yeah, I've back when they did the Sarasota Blues Festival, one of the last years I played that.
But did they stop doing that?
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
Or did it move to Lakewood Ranch? Because I could have sworn there's a new or a revived blues festival that's going on.
Yeah, I did the Venice Blues Festival when that first started, and I know that's back up and running. When Steve Harvey used to run that.
There used to be one in Bonita.
Yeah, Bonita Blues Fest. I don't think that one's happening anymore either. That's the thing. I mean,
COVID
a lot of these
screwed everything up, right? And then the economy.
Yeah, right. And so now things are coming back, which is good. But it's these theaters for the tribute shows and getting these festivals for the blues rockers. And,
I know Fort Lauderdale. I used to live in Fort Lauderdale. I lived in a high rise along the little river there, and I could go on my balcony, and there was this one bar that did live blues. So what they did was they took over like all the surrounding area, and they fenced it in, and they had an annual blues fest.
Oh yeah,
And
that's cool.
they had Buddy Guy was the headline one year. You know? And Devin Allman, when he was younger, he was there, you know. But you know what's cool, man, is the Allman Betts guys, the younger kids, they're now formed and they're playing out.
Yeah, that's great to hear.
And you can see,
see.
like, people go gaga over the Allman Brothers down here.
Sarasota.
They love it.
Yep.
I wish that we could play it. I mean, I could figure out a song to do, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, Mike, listen, thanks for coming in.
Hey,
man.
thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure having you.
Yes, sir.
And one more time, that website that people can go to.
Yeah, MikeImbasciani.com and Mike Imbasciani #1 on Instagram. Best place.
I highly recommend listeners that if they haven't seen or heard you yet, to definitely go check you out.
Thank you.
It's been a while for me. I'm due to go see you.
Yeah, man.
When's your next gig around here?
So I think at the time of recording this, we'll have just played at the Gulf Theater doing the Clapton show. But we do the Clapton show sometimes at Vasani in Port Charlotte, or we'll be at the Twisted Fork coming up on. That's this Saturday the 23rd as we're recording this. But Twisted Fork all the time.
wait a minute.
TJ Carney's in downtown Venice.
Twisted Fork we love that place.
Yeah.
And TJ Carney's are nice people.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying is the 23rd of August, you're at Twisted Fork.
Yeah, 11:30, 3:30.
I'm going to have to go to that because I believe I'm free.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to go on at 11:30 in the morning?
Yep.
Damn.
Oh, yeah. Still not as early as the car show I play. 8 o'clock in the morning on that
People
one.
are still eating their breakfast.
I know, yeah.
All right, Mike.
Hey, thank
Good
you.
seeing you, man.
You
Thank
too,
you.
my friend. Thank you.